Hey guys, Jason with Luma Blades here. So now I'm going to go through, my last video was how to work around a broken X-axis limit switch. This one is going to be how to replace that switch when it does come in. The workaround is fine, it's not going to damage anything as long as you don't make a mistake with something weird when you're doing. But we're going to go over to the machine. So now I've already did this and then I lost the video footage or whatever, so I'm going to do it again because I think it's good content for somebody. So I'm going to go ahead and turn you around, show you what we got going on here. Try to streamline it too because the last one was very boring. So my broken switch is, here's part of it. So this is part of it. This is the top half of the broken switch here. This is the bottom half. Okay. Note, I use flood coolant, so note that there is, material pieces in there. There's pieces of metal, shavings, and chips and whatnot in there. Now this here is a unit that sits inside a carrier. So take a look at that right there. So it sits inside of a carrier. It's kind of a trough carrier. When I first took it out, the inside of the carrier was filled with chips also, and then there's these metal leads that are under here where, probably shouldn't be filled up with liquids and chips. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and address that issue as well. So tools you're going to need to do this project is you're going to need a 17 millimeter wrench or adjustable wrench, which is for this top nut. You're going to need a 7 millimeter wrench, which are for these two nuts. You're going to need a flathead screwdriver. You're going to need a Phillips head. Maybe have a set of pliers around. You don't necessarily need them. And you need some RTV. Okay. So, being as we are working with some component, this is a closed loop, it's low voltage, but being as we're going to be working with this, I'm going to shut this down. On the 440, the shutdown procedure is hit the E-stop, hit exit, hit OK on the screen, and then it'll tell you to remove power from the controller. It's really kind of a backwards way, but whatever. It's different than the other machines. And then shut the strip, then shut that. Way too many things going on there. So now let's see here if I can do this correctly. I'm gonna have to turn you around here. Sorry about this. There we go. Flip you around there. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to get you going on this. Okay, so the angle might not be the best, but it's going to be good enough for you to get the idea. Now, my shop is in my home. My family is here, so you may hear my daughter yelling at me to do something or whatever. So that's my disclaimer on that. Okay. So, one thing to do when you start this project is keep your bellows open. Don't keep them all tight. Don't bring the table all the way up, okay? And there's going to be a reason. I discovered this during the last video, okay? And I'm wearing gloves only because I'm using stainless steel. I've been milling a lot of stainless, and the shards from the stainless will give you a splinter in 2 seconds, and it's just a pain in the butt. It's more of an annoyance. So I'm just cleaning that out, and this is already installed, so I'm just gonna show you what I did. So first I'm gonna take the 17 millimeter and loosen this. And like I said, this this is kind of, once you get into it, it's an idiot-proof thing, So this nut comes up. There's 2 little holes for it to slide out. That pops down. This pops out. You push your bellows down, and you push that into your bellows and work it out. Okay, so this is your switch right here. I hope you can see this. Yeah, okay, so this is your switch. These are the number 7s, and it's got a screw on the other side. Okay, now my switch somehow snapped and broke. Okay, it could be a number of things. There could have been a fracture when they first installed it. It could be anything. You know, electronic components. Can't even. These screws here. I mean, these look like they're commonly available at any hardware store. They don't look anything special. I just wanted to show you guys the inside of this and do this more expeditiously than I did it. You know, full disclosure, I've already done this once and I lost the video. So, okay. So you can see inside here. If you see inside here, if you look close, you can see there's remnants of chips in there. I blew it out, but you can see them. That can't be good to get that in there. So what I did was I used compressed air, but I just took a duster. And I'm just using the duster because so the video, the loud, it doesn't get super loud. Okay. And you only have 2 connections to worry about in here. There's a G5 and there's a ground. Now, and they're clearly labeled. Usually what I do is I'll take a picture of electronic component, put it in my phone, but I'm using my phone to record, and there's only 2. So the top one is common, and the bottom one is normally closed. What you need to know is that G5 goes to common, and the ground goes to normally closed. The center one does not get touched, and that's that, okay? So now I have these connections all already made, and I blew out the chips. I'm just putting this back in right here like so. I'll put back the screws, and it's really, I mean, I get it, but you would think that this would have a better carrier than it does, but it is what it is. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and put everything back together. And like I said, this is, you know, this is an exciting video. This is a video for the, you know, the person that has a Tormach. And let's face it, if we have Tormachs, we're not ready to own a full vertical milling machine. And you got to maintain these things. Things break, things happen, and luckily they're mostly interchangeable components. Nothing major, nothing super expensive, crazy expensive. And luckily Tormach is outstanding as far as their customer service and taking care of you. Now let's look at a problem. This is a problem area right here. Okay, this is, in my opinion, it's open and it's a way for stuff to get in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this RTV, because like when I opened it, guys, like I said, it was packed with chips, and it could have very well been that the chips got so packed in there that it moved the switch a little bit when it was moving and caused it to break. I mean, stranger things have happened, right? Who knows? So I feel it's good to keep the chips out if I can. So this is just blue RTV. I only got the blue because I have motorcycles and I use the blue on the motorcycles. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some RTV here to seal this area right in here. So I'm not going to go crazy with it. If I could get it to come out. And that's it. I'm just gonna, I don't really care I just don't want, I want to reduce the amount of chips that go in there. Okay. Now, over here, I guess I could put a little bit here, just a bead. I don't think it'll hurt anything. Just next time if I replace it, I'll have to contend with it. But if it can keep it out of there, that'd be a good thing, right? Okay, so got that handled. And then of course I'll just do the quick smear. Not pretty. I don't really care. All I care is that that's sealed. And again, I don't know how important this is, but it seems to me that they wouldn't have a case on it if they wanted to, if they didn't want to keep chips and stuff out of there. So I felt this was a fairly good way to deal with it. Now it's going to take a little bit of time to dry, so I'm not going to run my machine. So to reinstall this, you're compressing your bellows, you're working this in there, and you're just getting it in there. Push it down, get it in. It's going to go. It's going to be a pain in the ass, but it will go in there. There, see? All right. So now let me just look real quick. Make sure I didn't create a void. Now I'm good. I was just looking at the RTV connection there. So I'll put that in. Since I already got this to that point, it's a little light there, so I'll just go ahead and put a little more RTV here. Okay. I'm not going to run this machine till later on today, so I'm not too concerned with the drying time. So that was my point there. So making sure my wires are tucked, and this here should be pulled all the way up to the top, like as high as it could go. I feel like if Tormach designed this with a little more clearance, because I'm still uncertain as to what would cause this to break, because I don't beat on my stuff. I'm going to put this 17 millimeter lock nut back on. Take that. You can tell that that's a little bit kiltered, but because that, there, that goes there. And then I'll just tighten it up. Now when you tighten it, you don't want to over tighten this, because this is only held to the body. And if you could see down here, these are the two wires for it. You want to make sure that they're not pinched, because they do give you some excess. So, and I know from the angle it may look like these may be pinched, but they're not. I move them out so they're coming out on an angle there. And of course I got blue RTV on my bellows. No big deal. Okay. So we're at this point right now. Let me just wipe this and clean that up. I'm a little neurotic about things at times. And RTV is like working with tar on a roof. It'll get everywhere before you know it, and you won't even know how or why. Okay, so it's going to take about an hour for the RTV to dry 24 hours for a full cure. And the reason I put that there, like I said, this little box here was filled with chips, had residue. I use flood coolant. If you don't use flood coolant, you probably don't need to do this step, but it's open, so do it once, get it done. So at this point, you know, you can test. Okay, you know, you test that before, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and turn the machine back on, and then we're going to test that switch, make sure that it has function. So you turn on the 440, it's strip on. I'll move you out of here, and then turn you around. So move out the 440, you turn the power strip on. You wait for the screen to go up. Once the screen goes up and you get your Path Pilot screen, you're going to go ahead and you're going to turn on the main disconnect. Then you're going to go ahead, do the emergency switch, green, right there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to jog my Y up. See, okay, so I'm in a reset condition. So we're going to go here. File. We're going to go to settings. We're going to disable reference switches. We're going to hit reset. I'm going to bring my Y-axis up a little bit. I'm going to do what I showed you last time, because I don't want to have something crash. This is my X-axis. I'm bringing it over kind of where it looks like it should be. Okay, so I brought it to that point. My reference switches are disabled, and that was just to get me off of the limit switch, because I had just replaced it. Oh no, they were enabled when I did that, sorry. So it wasn't checked, so I'm going to go here, and I'm going to zero my Y. Well, I'm going to reference my Y, sorry. So I'm referencing my Y, referencing my Z, and now I'm going to disable the switch. I'm going to reference my X, which is going to do nothing but reference it right in the location where I placed it. Then with them disabled, I'm going to go to status, and I'm going to look at the X limit, and I'm going to press down on that switch we just installed, and that little green light should go on. I just pushed it down. That tells me that that is working. Okay. So now what I'm going to do, and this should automatically do this, and I'm not sure, like I said, this is the first time I did it. I'll go back to settings. I'm going to enable my reference switches. I'm going to reference X. It's going to tell me it's already referenced. We're going to rehome it. We're going to see what it does. And I'll put you over here so you can see what it does. It should just go ahead and rehome itself. And that's it. And we're done. So as you can see, it was a pretty simple project to do. Not a welcome one, not one that anybody wants to do. But if you want a machine and you want to do things, you want to be able to do it for a relatively inexpensive price point and be able to do it semi-professionally. I mean, I use this full time in my knife making business, and you know, this is my new model that's made 100% on that machine, 100%. So you're gonna have to deal with a couple of inconveniences, and the best thing is that Tormach, they kick ass. They're really a great company. They take care of you as the customer. They never tell you to pound sand. They'll try to help you even if you're out of warranty. They'll try their best to help you do things. And they've always done everything they could for me and for everyone that I've spoken with. So there you have it. That's your limit switch replacement, and that was done on the X. The Y limit switch is I'll show you. It's the same procedure. I haven't done it, but it's the same procedure because they're universal switches. The Y switch is under there. It's doesn't look, it wouldn't be that hard to get to. They're wired in series, and it's a combined thing, which is kind of a pain in the ass. Because when you do hit it, diagnosing it, you don't know if it's the X or the Y. You have to really deal with it. These are your dogs right here and here. Do not adjust or move this dog. This dog is preset for your travel. That's it. The Z switch will be the same procedures I showed you. And that's there. You'd have to take the back panel off. I highly suggest with your 440 or any of your machine that you make sure you have adequate space behind the machine, because you're going to need to access that panel to get there if you own one of these machines. That's just the way it goes. The other thing that went up with it was the oiler. The oiler went bad location, bad everything. I'm going to relocate that. I called Tormach. They just shipped me out a brand new oiler. No questions asked, because it's a common issue. So there you go, guys. Hope this video helps somebody, and you have a great day.